First of all, I would like to say welcome. I am so excited that you have decided to take this journey. Each week, you are going to be given a short presentation like this just to help inform you to make better decisions. I will continue to say this, and I truly believe it, that information is power. And the more you understand, the better decisions you can make as you go throughout your life. So today I'm going to be talking about obesity and overweight and how that affects your lifespan and your quality of life. And this is going to be a quick PowerPoint, and then after I will ask you to fill out a checking for understanding. So it's a short quiz, it's like 10 questions. Don't worry about getting every single question right. That's not what this is about. I want to make sure that you're comprehending this information. And if you don't understand it, then I will continue to reach out to you and just make sure that I answer any questions that you might have. So this is called Fight for Your Life presentation, and it talks about how obesity affects your lifespan. So sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy a couple of these tips, and it just helps give you that extra fire to continue on this journey to change your lifestyle and to get back in shape. So many people are already obese or overweight, and this puts them at risk for many different diseases. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how obesity and being overweight has actually really changed our population, and it has changed how people act and move and think. So overweight and obesity is defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that impair health. Worldwide, obesity has tripled since 1975. More than 35% of the US adults are obese. That means that their BMI is greater than 30, and 34% are overweight, BMI greater than 25. BMI is a body mass index. It's a formula used to calculate your body mass. And it doesn't take in consideration if you are extremely fit. So it isn't always the best measure to determine if somebody is their percentage of body fat. That's not the purpose. But it does give a general overview of your health based on the normal population. So it is used frequently with insurance companies in determining your health plan and your risks. And so it is important to figure out your BMI and then try to decrease the amount of body fat that you have. Nearly 32% of children or adolescents are either overweight or obese. So clearly we can see that we're living in a population that is indulging in food and sedentary behavior. And most of the world's population lives in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than underweight. So we no longer have to worry about people starving. And now we're actually more concerned about people being overfed. They're eating high calorie meals, very dense meals. However, they are nutrient deficient. They're not getting the nutrients that they need. Here are some of the risk factors for obesity and pre-obese individuals. As I said, if you are overweight, then you are considered to be pre-obese. Excessive weight may increase the risk of many health problems, including type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease and strokes, certain types of cancer, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, fatty liver disease, kidney disease, and pregnancy problems. Now, you have probably been told this before by a doctor, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing that you are at risk for these diseases. If that's the case, I please encourage you to reach out to me to ask your doctor to look into some more research about how obesity contributes to development of these diseases. Mostly, it has to do with your body's inflammation. And so you're eating foods that cause basically a World War II inside your body. You're eating foods that inflame your guts and cause a really catastrophic event in your insides. And it leads to disease. Now, each one of these I can talk about to you. I can explain them in detail, but this is just a brief overview. If you do have some concerns or you have been told you're at risk for any of these diseases and you want some additional information, this is definitely an opportunity to reach out to me after this and ask for some clarification. Obesity is preventable. This is the thing I really want to drive home. It is completely preventable to change your genes. And even if you do have overweight family members, or you think that this is partially genetic and where you store body fat, that is true to some case. But you actually have the ability. New research shows that you can change your genetic expression by changing what you eat and your physical activity. So overweight and obesity, along with accommodating chronic diseases, can be prevented. All those diseases I listed before, there are ways to prevent that from ever occurring if you were to take responsibility of your food intake and being more physically active. So these are the responsibilities that I want you to focus on this week. They're your individual responsibilities, something you can control. So limit the energy you take from total fats, and I'm going to call calories energy throughout time because many times people get so hung up on certain calories, how many calories they should have, and it becomes an obsession. And food is energy. And if you think about eating food as energy, you need it to continue life, you need it to sustain life, then you'll stop abusing food and eating it emotionally or just eating it because you're happy, sad, depressed, stressed. And so we're going to start to talk about food in terms of energy. Limit energy intake from sugar, increase consumption of whole fruits and whole vegetables, increase intake of whole grains, legumes, and nuts, engage in regular physical activity. Part 2 of obesity, is it preventable, is the environmental considerations. So these are things that will have an effect on your ability to succeed. And so going in with a plan and understanding that it could affect your decision making is going to be important for your success on this journey. So your support from your friends and family is huge in your success in this weight loss journey. If you have your husband, your wife on board, your kids on board, your mom and your dad, your cousins, if you make it a family challenge, if you make it something to do socially with your friends or coworkers, this is definitely going to help you succeed along this journey. So find a buddy, pair up, and start sharing recipes. Share what you do for a workout. Build that community to help you along this journey. Grocery stores. I know you can't avoid going to a grocery store, but in America, we have these like supermarkets, right? Walmart and Meijer and all these big supermarkets. And on the inside of these supermarkets is lots of tempting options. So you have to go in with a plan. A few suggestions are to write out what you need and stick to the list. Another option is to just shop on the outside of the store. The outside of the store is where the fresh produce is located, and you can stay away from a lot of the processed snacks. And another option, if you cannot and you do not have the willpower, is to sign up for Shipt, or there's many different delivery services now for groceries. So if you really don't have the willpower to walk into the grocery store and avoid those candy aisles, chip aisles, the snack aisles, then just sign up for Shipt and put in your order. And then you can, when you check out, it will notify you of high fat foods and all this kind of thing. So you can put flags on stuff that you don't want to have in your grocery cart to make you more aware of those purchases before they get into your house. So I believe that part of the changing really has to start by changing what's available to you readily. And the food that's in your house is obviously readily available at any point in time. You can go up when you're hungry or tired or anything and just grab a snack. Now, if you only have healthy foods to grab, like an apple or some carrot slices and celery, then that will be your choice, and it will make a world of difference in your journey. Be aware of TV ads, radio, marketing effects, because it does affect your hunger. As I was cutting out sugar from my diet, I had to stop watching, I've never been a TV watcher, but I had to turn off my radio and I started listening to books on tape and these kinds of things because I would hear so many advertisements for, McDonald's, and I don't even like McDonald's, but I know it's putting that seed in my mind subconsciously, and then I know I can pull into McDonald's at any point in time and grab a fruit and yogurt parfait, which has you know, 20 grams of sugar in it, and I can easily swing through and grab a Frosty if I want to. And so it does have an effect on your hunger. It does start to cause you to start to think about food more often and desire it more often. So maybe just turn the radio off and get away from watching TV, because it does start to change and plant little seeds in your mind that food is important and you need to eat, and that is not the case. All right, individual responsibility. There were the 5 points that I had mentioned at the beginning that I want you to focus on this week. So we're going to touch on those real quick. Reduce fat intake to less than 30% of your calories consumed. So if you are eating a lot of trans fats, I want you to completely cut that out. Trans fats are found in baked goods and packaged items. So I really want you to try to get less than 1% of trans fat. If you can just completely avoid it, that's going to be best for you. We're going to talk more about trans fats next week. Consume less than 10% of saturated fat. Saturated fat comes from animals, and it's found naturally in nature as well. So if you think of your butters, your cheeses, your ribs, all that kind of food, you want to reduce that to 10% less your calories. And then I'm going to encourage you to eat monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. These are healthy fats. They're found in like avocados, in nuts, legumes. Those are really great replacements for trans fats and saturated fats. Here's a nutrition label. As you can see, starting from the top to bottom, you want to look at the serving size. And then you can see in this macaroni and cheese, 1 cup is how many calories? Well, let's just look in 1 cup, there is 15% of your calories for the day. That's based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Now, if you're a woman, you're probably eating less than 2,000 calories, so you need to recalculate this. Now, saturated fat, 3 grams just in 1 cup of macaroni. Now, if you were to eat this whole thing, you would have to double this, because the serving size is two servings in this whole box. So the calories for the whole box is 500. The calories from fat from this whole box is 220. The saturated fat in the whole box is 6. So this is a thing that we do in America to make it look less bad, I think. But as you continue, these are the nutrients you want to limit, is your fats, your cholesterol, and your sodium. These are the nutrients you want. Fiber, which there's no fiber in here. You also want to check your sugars. We're going to talk about sugars in week 3. So you have lots of information coming up. Individual responsibility, limiting energy from intake from sugar, less than 25 grams a day. That macaroni and cheese had 5 grams in 1 serving. So in 2 servings of macaroni, that's 10 grams of sugar, and you would be already halfway through your entire sugar that you had from a cheesy dish and not from a sweet dish. So here it says 4 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon. And I'm going to give you an example of different sugars and drinks. In this Gatorade, there is 35 grams of sugar. So that exceeds your intake that you should have in an entire day. The maximum amount of sugar you should be having is 25 grams a day. And sugar is a really big part in all of those diseases I mentioned beforehand. It's a big key player in why obesity and overweight even exists, is sugar that's added to all these different products and how much we actually eat in the day. This is a current label and a proposed label. This is very interesting. I live in Korea right now. Currently in America, we have these serving size, and in a bottle of pop, or anything that you have, it says a serving size of 8 fluid ounces. And then it says a serving per container about 2.5. So if you were to drink the whole container, you would have to multiply everything by 2.5. Calories are not 110. Calories are actually 275. Same thing if you were to look here with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates for the whole bottle is not 31 grams because it's 2.5 servings. So the actual carbohydrate is 78. And the same thing for sugar. 2.5 servings is actually 75 grams of sugar. So your other responsibility is your eating habits. So we talked about the sugar, we talked about the fat. Now the other thing I want you to focus on is eating whole fruits. Don't substitute whole fruits for juices, fruit snacks, fruit roll-ups, or dried fruit. It's not the same thing. the part of fruit that's really good for you is the skin, and it contains a lot of nutrients. We're going to talk about probiotics and fiber in upcoming weeks, but right now, just think of whole fruits. An apple is an apple. I want you to eat that, okay? Eat real vegetables. Do not substitute with potato chips and veggie sticks. It's not the same thing. Eat beans, legumes. So I'm talking about lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans. Eat nuts and seeds. Avoid sugary trail mixes. Eat nuts or eat whole grains. Eat couscous and quinoa and brown rice, and all those whole grains are really great to hold you over. Avoid eating those white pasta, bread, cereals, granola bars, snacks, bars, cookies, big treats. And the last thing I'm going to talk to you about today is individual responsibility. So I want you to engage in at least 150 minutes of moderate activity each week. I know a lot of emphasis is put on the physical activity and going to the gym, and most people feel so insecure they don't know where to start when they go in the gym. Now, going to the gym obviously has amazing health benefits. However, it's not the main focus. Let's focus on your lifestyle. Let's focus on just being a little bit more active. So here's a couple pictures. The first woman, she's sitting on her desk. That's not physical activity. The next woman's doing yoga. That is physical activity. Riding a bike, yes. Lifting boxes, yes. Walking/running, yes. Sitting on a computer, no, that's not physical activity. Cutting the grass, yes, physical activity. Building blocks, yes. Reading a book, no, that's not physical activity. Golf, yoga, sitting at a desk, not physical activity. Jumping rope, walking dog, lifting weights, and playing tennis are all examples of being physically active. Lastly, I'm going to have you fill out and complete this checking for understanding. So if you click on the link in your email, then you will then pull up this questionnaire. So the last thing I want to leave you with, I'll show you that. Information is power. Knowledge gives you the power of decision making. Because of information, you have decisions that you can be made. So here's the questionnaire I want you to fill out. I will then get your results, and we'll check it in again next week. Have a great week. Once again, focus on your individual responsibilities. I know you can do it. It's 5 points. Just focus, stay on track, and reach out to me if you do have additional questions. Have a great day.